goes. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Right, so thanks for taking the time to do this to begin with. Um, I'll just give you my overarching project title at the moment, which is how do ideas of virtual identity and community align with interactions in university Facebook sports groups? So I'll just be a discussion, in your case, of the... Alright,
Yep.
so first question would be, so how often would you post in the group, personally?
I'd say rarely. I mean, obviously I have two groups, obviously for the team and for the club. So more frequently in the group for my team rather than the club.
Okay, so it's split into smaller groups,
It's
sort of per
split.
team as well.
Obviously, there's one that encompasses all the teams, and then obviously each individual team has a group. And I'd say I post more in the team group because obviously I have a closer relationship with them, and it's more relevant to me. Whereas sort of in the club group, it's generally sort of people that run the club that are posting it more often.
Okay, so it's more relevant to you in the smaller
Yeah.
the smaller group, and so that's why you post. Okay, great, thanks. So when you do post things online, are you conscious of what it is when you post and the language that you may use within the post?
I guess there's an element of it, obviously, sort of the culture and the nature of the football club, perhaps sort of dictates the kind of language you're going to use.
Okay,
So you might use certain terms that apply to the football club and stuff like that, sort of abbreviations and certain phrases that only they'd understand what it means. But by and large, sort of it's a pretty bog standard message. It's never usually anything
Okay.
too unique.
so your messages usually are quite sort of standard then.
Yeah, there's nothing particularly special about them.
Okay, great. So within both these groups then, so the individual team ones and the larger overarching group,
Yeah.
does everyone have an equal chance to post on those?
I'd say more so in the team group, obviously, because the football club has, I think, over 200 members. So obviously within your team group, where you obviously split into just the squad you're in, the people you know
Yeah.
much better, you train with them, play with them, probably have you more of a chance to post because you sort of closer relationships with them. Whereas sort of when you get to the main group, obviously the people that post are generally the sort of more experienced members of the clubs. Those are on the committee, the captains, sort of like your position within the club hierarchy kind of
Okay.
is a factor on how much I think you post.
So it's positionally it would be accepted more if someone that was
Yeah.
a better player and older, maybe on the committee, it would be more sort of seen as acceptable.
It's quite rare for first years or people that have just joined to be as active in posting as those that have been there longer.
Okay, great. And so within both these groups, do you think that the groups are used more for key information regarding fixtures and training and sort of serious matters, or is there also an element of enjoyment to them as well? So I don't know, maybe funny football clips or anecdotes or things about socials. Is there sort of a balance between the two of them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, primarily is focused on the football. Like think things about when training is squads going up, fixtures,
Yeah.
Things like that, team photos. But then obviously there is a fair amount of the social side of it. Going out for socials or meeting, going for a drink. Obviously, because you get friends within your team, within the club.
Yeah.
Very much be like an impromptu. Does anyone fancy going for a drink or something like that? But then I think fundamentally like the main purpose of the group is for the football. It's
Yeah.
a way of organising, for matches and stuff like that as a sort of an easy, accessible way. 'Cause everyone has Facebook, social
Yeah.
media.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks. So within these groups, do you think there's terms that only the members of the groups will be able to interpret accurately or know of? Could be anything from sort of slang or in jokes to sort of specific football terminology as well.
By and large, no, but obviously, like in any group, obviously when people get to know each other, people will have nicknames or you have certain phrases for
Yeah.
fairly obscure things. And obviously, football terminology is one of the things that, unless you understand football and then talking about more technical things, actually things like training in the groups, you'd have
Yeah.
to be a football player to understand it. but by and large, it's pretty standard language.
Fairly standard language.
If someone that wasn't part of the football club read it, I'm not sure they'd have too much difficulty in understanding what most of the stuff meant.
Okay. All right, great, thank you. So within the groups, are there instances of maybe taboo topics and language being posted? Is that something that sometimes comes up?
Yeah, I think so. I think again that kind of comes down to the more experienced people that in the club,
Yeah.
the longest standing members over the time have developed their own sort of terminology for certain things and certain events and phrases that they use. But apart from that, I don't think I think it's kind of people kind of assume there is that they can be quite cliquey and think and sort of you develop certain phrases, but by and large, I think it's a fairly standard means of communication where uses standard terminology, standard language.
Yeah.
Each other. There's not too much cases of sort of taboo subjects and taboo language.
Okay.
Such being used.
All right, and so a quick question: are the privacy settings on the group maximal? As in that you need to be members only. You have to be invited, and format to it.
No, I mean it is definitely like a private setting. I mean, from the point of view of like the team group, obviously it's supposed to be there to sort of put up team sheets to talk about training tactics, and obviously you only want the members involved in it that are actually part of the team, and also because things like that you talk about opposition on there. And obviously if it was an open group and anyone could find it, it sort of opens up to other universities looking at it and other people looking at the sort of stuff you're saying, which obviously it's all good natured stuff, but obviously it's the kind of thing you keep to yourself in the group.
Yeah, so those
like it also prevents people. I think on Facebook you get a lot of spamming people that will try to join. Some of them have succeeded, even though it's a closed group. They join the club and then start posting spam advertising and stuff like that. So that's another reason to keep it a closed group as a secret group. It's just to stop, so they can be solely focused on matters related to the football club rather than going outside of that.
Okay, great, thank you. So in terms of then maybe people's sort of maybe identity when on Facebook in relation to football, when you're talking to someone, it might be online on a different social media site or on Facebook, is the team or the club playing for Cardiff Football, is that something that seems important to you when you're talking about sort of identifying yourself as a student, or is it just seen sort of as a side, almost like a hobby that you do?
I wouldn't use it to define sort of. It's different for different people, but on a personal level, like it's not massively part of my identity. Like I enjoy playing football. I enjoy being part of the club. Going on the trips to games, playing in the games, the training, and the social side of it. But it's still sort of secondary to my identity. It's still just it's one of the things I do as a hobby, as my enjoyment. Whereas I think for other people it's more integral, like it's very much the central part of their time at university, the social side and the football side, because that's their sort of one of their sole or main interests, whereas I sort of have broader interest than just football. I like to take part in other stuff as well and socialise with friends outside of football, whereas I think for other people it does very much
become sort of central to central to their social life as well. Okay, that's interesting. So if a stranger was looking, or someone that went to sort of add you on Facebook, had a look on your profile, would they be able to tell that you were a member of the club?
From looking at my profile as someone who wasn't a friend of me on Facebook, then no. If it was someone who could see my profile, like without the privacy settings to it, who had full access to it, if they looked hard enough, they would be able to. But because for me, it's never been central to my identity and not like the most prevailing thing I do. You'd have there would be odd photos and posts that would involve the football element. They'd see me in sort of university football kit.
Yeah.
But they're sort of in the minority, like by and large. Most of my stuff is outside of football, so I don't think they'd be able to distinguish the fact I played for the university football club.
Okay, great, thanks. And so finally, other members of the football club throughout all the different teams, between when they're posting within the groups associated with football, and then their own sort of public posts on Facebook, so their normal status updates and things not to do with the sport. Do you see any difference between maybe the language use or how they would identify themselves through these posts, or is it sort of much of a muchness for them?
I think it's very much dependent on the character. Like some people, it's obvious they will adapt their identity to to the football club when they post football club and their sort of day-to-day statuses, stuff like that, because it's almost like it's two different parts of them. Other people are very much the way they go about on social media, post on social media in a normal circumstance is very similar to how they do it when they post in the football club. So I think it's sort of very much dependent on the character that does it. And some people, I would say there is an obvious difference. I mean, the language they use, in the way, even in the way they write posts and the names they use. Whereas other people, it's very much the way they are on social media is universal. Whether it's on Facebook normally, on Twitter, or posting in sort of the specific part of Facebook for the football club.
Okay. All right, that's interesting. Matt, thank you very much for your time for doing this.
No problem.
All right, thank you. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.